All right, guys, it's Thor Sandalwood, and we are live streaming today. But what we're going to talk about is we are going to be talking about Saturn going direct. And if you guys remember, Saturn has been retrograde for about 5 months now. It's been quite a long time. And so, with Saturn going direct, there's going to be a lot of changes. Really, what I see is it's going to be a lot of consequences for all of us as a society. And also, we're going to be taking a look at, in the second half of this video, we're going to be talking about how it's going to affect your sign, your ascendant, and or your moon sign. So you can also check what this transit's going to, how it's going to impact your sign, okay? Now, when we're talking about transiting planets, I want you guys to be aware that within sidereal or Vedic astrology, which I practice, most important thing is going to be your Mahadasha and your Bhukti as far as what kind of karma is ripening in your life. But besides that, the most important transiting planet, I believe, how you doing, Agatha? The most important transiting planet is going to be Saturn, because Saturn shows us where our lessons in life are. And every 2.5 years, Saturn transits one of the 12 signs of the zodiac, and that affects a certain house. So wherever Saturn is transiting, that is like your current life lessons. And no matter what kind of Mahadasha or Bhukti you're in, Saturn is going to influence the outcome of how you experience that. Because Saturn, as it's transiting all those 12 signs, it is testing us. It's putting up obstacles. It's delaying things. It's giving us this dose, basically this splash of cold water on our faces, so we can understand how reality works. Now, first we got to talk about how Saturn's going to impact us as a world, as a society, because this is very important, because Saturn does represent, you guys, I'm going to show you guys a pyramid. This is my orgonite pyramid that I have, but this is the perfect demonstration of how Saturn is. Saturn's all about top-down hierarchies, just like we've been in the age of Pisces. It's all about Saturn. It's all about, the people at the top and then all the masses at the bottom. Saturn really incorporates all of this kind of thinking. So corporations have very Saturn-like qualities. Governments have very Saturn-like qualities. Now, unfortunately, for us as a world, for us as a society, the people at the top have been living pretty cozy, because this society, this top-down hierarchy we're all living under, it's really good, very, very efficient at funneling all the resources, energy, and money to the top of that pyramid, okay? But what happens, it gets so efficient at doing that pretty soon the people at the bottom of the pyramid start experiencing things like shortages, low pay, things, because basically it's getting way too efficient at funneling money to those people at the top. Money and resources. Energy really is what we're looking at. So, if the people at the top have made their money, a lot of their money through some sort of labor exploitation or something like that, that's also them taking energy from the bottom of the pyramid. So I think that, when I'm reflecting on this, this is really what we're going to be seeing during this next 6 months. So Saturn started direct on October 11th, 2021, just 3 days ago. And it's going to be in the sign of Capricorn until April 29th, 2022. So this next 6 months is going to be the real game changer, okay? It's going to be all the consequences of the last 2 years. And you guys are well aware of what's been going on for the last 2 years. I think this is going to be when we're reaping the consequences. We're reaping what we sowed. This is the classical karma, guys. This is cause and effect, okay? So a lot of the things, the different various programs or requirements or whatever that these guys have been putting in, we're going to see the backlash. We're going to see the consequences. How is that going to affect us as a society? Now, we also know we have Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, and Pluto's demanding change. It's demanding change from the government. Remember, Capricorn is the natural 10th house. It is the government, okay? Now, I want you guys to remember, Saturn is all about survival. It's all about fear. And in earlier times of society, when we go back to ancient times, when we were hunters and gatherers, Saturn was important. Saturn was that reptilian brain that got us awake every day so we could hunt and gather. And if you saw a saber-toothed tiger, Saturn was the one that got you that flight or fight response, right? The problem is in our modern societies, the fear brain, the reptilian brain, we've largely progressed. Most people on the planet aren't facing the kind of things like starvation on as much as they did in the past, although I know there's instances of it. But we're largely, developing as a society. So a lot of that fear brain response is still in our genetic heritage. We have these fear-based responses to even modern society, and that's why so many people are racked with anxiety and stress. What I want you guys to know, though, is when Saturn's going direct, these people, the people that are in this hierarchy representing government, corporations, different things like that, their main goal is going to be to preserve the power structure. That's the main goal. And the reason, they have their reasoning, okay? The reason is they believe the power structure, the control, is the best way to maintain order out of chaos, okay? So they actually believe that this is for the benefit. Even though there's so many people that are largely not benefiting from this anymore, they believe in their logic from a scarcity mindset that this system is the best system, okay? So Saturn is all about preservation. Saturn reacts to things. Saturn is not proactive. The Sun and Mars are those proactive planets. Saturn is only going to react, and when it does react, it's going to do super slowly. It's going to react. Okay, so we have all these consequences lined up over the 2 years, and now we're going to see kind of a backlash that's going to be happening. Not kind of, we're going to see a backlash that's happening from everything. And we're going to see a slow response in trying to manage all of the chaos and consequences that have come our way as a result of this last 2 years, right? So, I mean, this last 2 years, there's been a lot of problems. So understand that when they're responding, they're trying to preserve something they see as very necessary. They don't believe in chaos. Okay, chaos is the function of Mars. It's the function of the 8th house. They don't want chaos. So Saturn, we're going to see a lot more draconian measures happening. So I believe that we're going to see slow responses to problems, but we're going to see draconian measures. And that's why I believe, and a lot of astrologers and psychics are agreeing with me, I believe there is going to be some form of lockdown in the next few months. I believe there's going to be some sort of lockdown, some sort of restrictions placed on the society at large. And yes, it's going to be due to that self-preservation instinct that's happening. Right now, in the United States, and I'm sure it's affecting the whole world, they have hundreds of container ships off of the coast of the U.S., and there's widespread shortages happening right now. So what we're going to see is a response to that, the shortages and stuff, because that really is that Saturn fear response that we're going to be seeing. Okay, so let's go on and let's talk about each sign. And when I talk about the sign, you guys check out what your ascendant is in the sidereal zodiac. Check your ascendant, and then also check how it affects your moon sign as well. So when we're doing Vedic astrology, we want to always check both, because it influences us in 2 ways, our ascendant and our moon sign. So if you are an Aries ascendant or Aries moon, Saturn's going to be transiting your 10th house. So there's going to be a lot of lessons regarding your career. You might come across authoritarian bosses, because 10th house represents bosses too. You might be forced to go back to work. You might be forced back into a career that you don't really typically like. Because Saturn, what it does is it kind of creates life situations that force us to make decisions. So Aries, you're going to be focused on these lessons about work and career. Okay? And if you're a Taurus ascendant or Taurus moon, Saturn's going to be transiting your ninth house. Okay? So there might be problems with your father. Okay? So if your father's older or somebody that's aging, there might be problems with your father. Sometimes it can indicate health problems and different things. Also, Saturn can represent problems with established organized religions. Maybe you're having a problem with the local church or the priests. Okay, something's not going right, or maybe you're being forced to change whatever religious belief you have because you're seeing all these circumstances aren't lining up with your current belief system. So that's what Saturn does. It forces you to change. If you're a Gemini ascendant or a Gemini moon, Saturn's going to be transiting your 8th house. Okay. Now, when Saturn transits a house like the 8th house, it's going to be somewhat positive for you because what Saturn's going to do, it's going to slow down the shocking events that happen in the 8th house. So things like insurance settlements or inheritances or tax returns are actually going to be probably slowed down. So that will be the frustrating thing about having Saturn transit your 8th house. You also might have problems with your in-laws. Okay, so there might be a lot of confusion with that. What Saturn's doing is Saturn's putting you through a long-term transformation. So by the end of this 6 months, you should notice that your life is being completely transformed by what Saturn's doing in your 8th house. If you're a Cancer ascendant or a Cancer moon, Saturn's going to be transiting your 7th house. So there's going to be a focus on marriage and business partnerships. You might find that there's certain karmic issues with your spouse or your business partners. And that, despite you guys not getting along that good, that you feel very obligated to keep that commitment, that contract in place. You also might have issues with just contracts in general. So make sure that you review any contracts you get, either through employment or purchasing anything. Make sure you carefully, line by line, check out those contracts because 7th house is contracts, okay? And Saturn being in the 7th house can introduce problems with those. If you're a Leo ascendant or a Leo moon, Saturn's transiting your 6th house. Again, this is going to be mostly positive for you because Saturn's going to be blocking the enemies, the debts, and the problems associated with the 6th house. One of the negative outcomes with Saturn transiting the 6th house is going to be a lack of medical care. There might be something happening in your life where maybe you don't have medical insurance, or maybe it's difficult to see a doctor. But the good thing about it is you can manage your enemies with Saturn being in the 6th house. You can manage your debt, and that's a positive placement for Saturn. If you are a Virgo ascendant or a Virgo moon, Saturn's going to be transiting your 5th house. During this time, next 6 months, you might find that you suffer from a lack of creativity because 5th house is all about our creative mind, our connection to divine and creative intelligence around us, okay? You also might have issues with children. Maybe there's expenses coming up. Maybe, your children, maybe you get a dental bill or something, some sort of things where it's costing you a little bit in the upkeep and keeping your children in a good shape. If you're a Libra ascendant or a Libra moon, Saturn's going to be transiting the 4th house, okay? This is the typical transit that I see when people are forced to move, usually for negative reasons. So you may find that you're forced to move. You're forced to move to a house or an apartment that might be even a little bit worse condition than you were living in because of usually survival reasons. Maybe it's because you're trying to save some money because the other place was costing you too much. You also might have issues with your mother. So if you have an elderly mother, you might want to keep track of that. It can indicate health issues or health pressures on the mother. So be careful there. If you are a Scorpio ascendant or a Scorpio moon, Saturn's going to be transiting your third house. So there might be a special focus on siblings, your brothers, your sisters, especially younger siblings. And you might find that you're having disagreements with them, and it might be things you have to work through. You also may find that you're having disagreements or problems with work associates, because third house rules coworkers or people at the office. You might be even being forced to return to the office even though you would like to work from home. That's going to be something you see when Saturn's transiting your third house. If you're a Sagittarius ascendant or a Sagittarius moon, Saturn's going to be transiting your second house. This literally is, I just brought up the dental issues before, but Saturn transiting your second house can bring up dental issues because it rules your teeth. It also can bring up issues with finances, so be very careful about saving money. You may find that it's very difficult to save money, that when you save money, it seems to slip through your fingers through different issues. What Saturn's trying to teach you is Saturn's trying to teach you value, the lesson of trying to save, trying to save, even if it's a little bit of savings every month that you can do. Saturn's trying to teach you the lesson of scarce resources. Now, if you are a Capricorn ascendant or Capricorn moon, Saturn's going to be transiting your first house. So Saturn's going to be probably making you work hard. You know, when Saturn's in the first house in a natal chart, it usually means somebody being a hard worker, a very disciplined person. You may be being forced to be very disciplined right now, working very hard, working extra shifts. You might even find that your body is just feeling really old because Saturn does that to our body. Saturn rules the bones, and it makes us feel like we're getting old, and the aging process is starting to affect us. So that's what we feel when Saturn's transiting Capricorn. First house of Capricorn there. The next sign we're going to look at is Aquarius ascendant or Aquarius moon. Saturn's going to be transiting your 12th house. You may notice when Saturn restricts things that Saturn is restricting a little bit of spiritual guidance. You know, 12th house represents our spirit guides. It represents our access to our ancestors, the access to that wisdom in the astral realm. You may find that for some reason you're not getting a lot of clarity from your guides. The lesson here that Saturn's trying to teach you is learn how to trust yourself, learn how to trust your decision-making process. You also may find that, you know, you may not want to travel to foreign countries during this time when Saturn's going through your 12th house. Travel to foreign countries might seem very restrictive or very expensive because Saturn's transiting the 12th house. If you're a Pisces ascendant or a Pisces moon, Saturn's going to be transiting the 11th house. So what you may find that you have problems with your friends, okay? There might be friends calling you up asking if you could loan them some money. Or you might have different disagreements happening with your friends because Saturn can indicate problems. You also may have problems with elder siblings because 11th house represents elder siblings. Also, be careful about investing in stock market or putting your money into new investments when Saturn's transiting your 11th house. Remember, Saturn is risk averse. Saturn does not like taking risk. Saturn will reward you for playing it safe, but not taking a risk. Okay, so you don't want to take any risks right now. So that's all 12 signs. Maybe somebody can do a little highlight to each sign if people want to fast forward the video. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat. Yes, Katie, I did talk about Capricorn ascendant. Capricorn, Saturn's going to be transiting your first house, so you're probably going to be very busy person, and also you may have issues related to your body. You want to make sure that you're exercising, eating right, doing things to take care of your body since Saturn's transiting your first house. But you're going to probably be working really hard. And let's see, Agatha says, okay, weirdly, when Saturn transited my second house, I earned more than usual. Now, sometimes Saturn can help you earn more money, but usually when you earn more money with Saturn's help, what I've noticed, it's like, for example, Saturn might, you might be working a lot of overtime. So you had to work really hard to get that money, but you are, technically making more money. So a lot of times what Saturn does, Saturn's all about hard work, guys. Like pure hard work. Saturn's the planet of the blue collar worker, the person that puts in long hours. It's going to be the opposite of, it's going to be the opposite of what the sun would do. The sun is different because when you make money with the sun, you're making money through your charisma. Maybe you become a movie star. Maybe you become someone famous, and you make millions of dollars in a day. So that's how different sun is when you're making money with sun versus Saturn. And let's see, Mauve Lay is asking, Aries ascendant, does that include new job? Aries is, yes, it could be when Saturn's transiting the 10th house of Aries for Aries ascendant. What it could be a new job, and it could be that you're forced to take a new job for some circumstances. But because it's your 10th lord, it's going to be pretty positive for you. It's going to show you're going to work hard, but you're going to achieve what you want if you're an Aries ascendant. So it's going to be very positive. You guys, that's what I had to talk about today. I think we're going to be having to buckle up for the next 6 months. So you guys try to hang tight for the next 6 months. Also, if you guys are interested in a personal private reading, check out my website, thorsandalwood.com. And that's where you can book a private reading with yours truly right here. Also, I'm doing a special right now, 20% off if you put coupon name Thor at checkout. You get 20% off. And that's how you can save money when you're booking a reading with me. So thank you guys. Also, if you guys like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and also check out my TikTok as well. Let me take one more question here. Katie Crypto, I'm investing in Bitcoin with my Capricorn rising. Will I lose or win money? Well, Katie, I'd have to look at your overall chart to know that. We'd have to look at what kind of Mahadasha you're in or Bhuti. But, Saturn's going to be aspecting your 3rd house, your 7th house, and your 10th house. Oh, you can't send a tip on here. I don't have that set up for YouTube just yet, just like I do on TikTok. But you guys, thank you so much for being here, and thank you guys for being in the chat. And I'm wishing you many blessings. Make sure that you guys prepare yourselves. I think the next 6 months are going to be kind of crazy. So many blessings, and I will see you very soon in the next one.